Will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Please rise. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I forgot to say the time is 6:03. Okay, do we have any disclosures or declarations of conflict from the commissioners?
No.
I own a nightly rental. That's all I've got. So, okay, that'll move us to approval of the agenda. Anybody see any problems with that tonight? We do have, it shows public hearings, so that's good.
Looks good to me.
Okay, I will take a vote to approve the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the
Or
agenda.
motion.
I second.
Okay, got a motion and second. Take a vote.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Business items. Discussion on a nightly rental application submitted by Ken Ellsworth. Tax ID T-170-D. Current zoning is R120, single family residential.
So
I'm sorry? Okay, awesome.
I was just going to let you know that he was on Zoom. So basically, the applicant is in compliance with the code. This is basically, his application is deemed complete per the requirements in that Title 10 of our new code, of our new nightly rental, the Chapter 17, Section 3 of the City Code. So in your packets are the requirements, the application, everything that sees there, the site plan. Thank you, Daisy, for bringing that up. Essentially, there it's on Shangri-La. It's up at the top of the hill, just as you climb to the very top. It's that new existing home there. The site plan, as you can see, shows it there. It has Riker has gone out and verified the parking. And the applicant is online if he has any other comments,
Okay,
questions you might have for him. But
all right,
as per code, he is compliant.
okay. Any of the commissioners have any questions on this one?
Go ahead.
How many more of these do we have available?
Two.
Okay,
If this goes through, two.
Yeah.
will be
thank
available.
you.
The only question I have is, it shows the applicant is Ken Ellsworth.
Ken,
Ken, sorry. Ooh,
be careful with that.
yeah, sorry. The house is owned in an LLC, so shouldn't it be the LLC that
He-
is that,
If
even
he's a
though
registered
it's not
agent.
really an LLC?
So Ken, can you unmute and
It said sole proprietor somewhere.
speak to that?
I thought I read that.
Yeah, is the question more like who are the owners of the LLC? That would be myself and one other person.
Right. And we verify, I believe Riker verified that as well.
Just as a matter, so when they
Mhm.
sign, they should be signing their name as manager for the city, showing that
Gotcha.
that's more of just kind of a bookkeeping thing. But
Okay.
anyway, that's my only thing.
Appreciate that.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? No more?
No more.
Okay, then I will open this up for a public hearing. Public input is sought on a zone change oops, I'm sorry. Let me go back to the right one. Public input is sought on a nightly rental application submitted by Ken Ellsworth, tax ID T-170-D, current zoning R120. The public hearing is now open.
I'm Douglas Martin. I am the next door neighbor, and I personally, all the nightly rentals up on the heights, we haven't had any issues or any problems. And I have no issue with them doing a nightly rental there. So I'm okay with that. So, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Manning Butterworth. I live on Rimview in the Heights. And I apologize, I just missed what Commissioner Chamberlain's question was. Could you repeat it, please?
I just wanted to know how many more of this type of license are available in the city.
I see, and there were only
Yeah.
two.
Two.
Thank you.
No more? Okay, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second it.
Got a motion and a second, take a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Any staff comments at this?
Staff comments were pretty much that it follows all the code, everything is met. He's gone out, he's looked at the site, it's verified parking. I do know that they have to look at the 500 feet and make sure that that's been verified as well. So everything that I got in staff comments said that it was good. Well, I do have one more, Darren. Darren, one question for you. The fire inspection and all that.
Actually, we do have that fire inspection. It did come back. It's not in your packet because it came in, I believe, yesterday.
Okay,
So it
so
is
that's been completed and found
complete.
to
That
be
is
in
completed.
compliance.
That's one of the requirements that they would have before they get their business license.
Okay, so we don't need to say it's
Subject
based
to.
on, subject to completion.
We
That's
have
already done.
that document
Okay.
now.
So you're saying they don't know if it's 500 feet apart? from
No, I'm saying they have verified that. So it is, it's all,
So we what we do is we use the imaging, the map imaging from the county, the GIS department, and this is definitely it's 500 feet as per the code.
okay, I have nothing further. Is any,
I don't want to meet them.
I just wanted to know, do you live here in town in Tokerville?
you'll have to
To
unmute.
Mr. Ellsworth?
Yep.
Okay,
Sure.
thank you. I just noticed there was no other manager but you, so I just wanted to make sure you were nearby. So thank you. That's all my questions.
Okay, then I will look for a motion if we have no more.
I'll make a motion that we recommend approval of business item C1.
I second.
They got a motion and a second. Any need to discuss this further? Okay, let's take a vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, that takes us to business item C2, discussion on zone change application submitted by Bob Litchfield. Tax ID numbers are T-168E, T-168B-2-D, T-149-A-4-A, T-149-A-5, T-149-A-3, T-149-A-2-A, T-150-A-2-B-1, T-168-J. All of these are current zoning is R120. Proposed zoning is planned commercial. Aaron, as staff, have you got anything for us?
So in essence, this was the proposed zoning for this, and this came before you in July. It was tabled at that point, as you guys might remember, for further direction to staff to look at the zoning on this. And at the time, you guys did that. The staff has started that process. We've created some checklist for the different things to make it a little more compliant with what are similar to other municipalities around us. We are in the process of that. This zone change ordinance has not completed yet through the process. And so the applicant has just, he asked that he be put back on the for a public hearing and to finish this and to have you guys make a vote based on what he has applied for and supplied right now.
Okay. Any questions for staff? All right. No questions, and I will open this up for public hearing. Public input is sought on a zone change application submitted by Bob Litchfield on all of the tax ID numbers that I stated previously. I now open the public hearing.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name's Dean Haymore. I live at 2180 South Sunshine Lane, one of the most affected parcels of 3 landowners. Once again, I stand in front of you as you look a little bit dumbfounded as this big zone change with no information in front of you. With our own plan that does not recommend this kind of project down in Shangri-La Valley. Also with numerous tries of changing the zoning to put this down in that valley, which you previously denied, and the city council did approve a highway change. Let me remind you once again, this is a very open, very big zoning request, which requires quite a few impact studies and everything else, and which also should include bonding for anything that goes down there. And if you don't know what they're going to do, you don't know what the bonding levels is to protect the city and everybody else around there on what improvements and what money is going to be expended. Got promises, we have meetings, highlights showing everything up to almost $200 million worth of expenditures down there, which sounds great, but also sounds like a lot of impact in that whole valley. Also, with some research back as far as 2010 and 11, emails exchanged with prior council persons and prior county saying that Litchfield, you promised me an RV park for the land to put the bypass in. That's now on record. And now the same thing is the applicant wants just to push it through to you guys, if you approve it or not, because he thinks he's got the same agreement with Litchfield and the city councilman that they will approve it because there was a promised RV park for land swap, which the land swap was probably done illegally. And then that is blackmail and illegal all the way, that you cannot do that with the city or with zoning to put value on the zoning price just to be compensated. The land should have been condemned and then paid for, or should still be paid for. The road, nobody wants to stop the road. It's almost done. We're watching it come through. It would be a disaster to stop the road at this time. We all agree about that. But this zone change is just flat illegal, what they're trying to force through to this city, and tell this city what they have to do over the last 10 to 15 years because of promises made that you weren't here, you're not held responsible, and I don't want you to be liable, or anybody from the city be liable. Once again, please be responsible in your decisions tonight and listen to the facts. Thank you.
I'm just going to kind of bring up something you guys said at the last meeting I was here. I
Could you state your name?
Oh,
and
I'm
your
Shannon
address,
Potter.
please?
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem. You're fine.
I did live,
And address as well. I don't
on
mean to
Arcadia
startle you.
Lane. I'm part owner of the ranch down in Arcadia Lane in Shangri-La.
Okay.
Last meeting we were here, you guys talked about your city planning and what you had for city plan and how this did not fit in. And I strongly suggest that you look at that again, because what this is going to do on water alone. And is this something that you guys are really wanting to be responsible for the roads, for the police, for the ambulance, for all the things that are going to have to go down there if this goes in? And realistically, would you want this next to your property? I mean, I'm not trying to be unkind, but this is a huge, it's impacting wildlife, it's impacting water, it's impacting everybody that lives down there, that went down there. We bought these properties, we own these properties to be in seclusion, to be down away from the town. We certainly don't want all of that. How many lots were there supposed to be? Those would be our new neighbors, and all of us, we like our quiet lifestyle. I just want to recommend you guys go back and look at what you really want, what Tokerville's planning, what Tokerville's willing to invest in the police and the fire and all that, because that is going to have to be added to what you have now, which is already, I'm sure, overwhelmed. You guys don't have your own firehouse, do you? Do we ever? So we would put a strain on someone else in addition to that. So you guys would probably have to add a firehouse, add police. So I just want to keep that in mind. And I apologize and I thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Douglas Martin, 317 West Shangri-La Drive. I've lived here almost 23 years. Moved here for the small town, left the big city. I've watched all these planning commissions. I watched the city council meetings. I'm a quiet guy. I don't make waves in town. I just have a lot of concerns. Not happy with growth like most everybody in the town. Most people here aren't. It's because the life is changing. But I have some concerns. I just want to know what they're going to be putting down there. I have 2 grandkids that live at my house. My neighbors have 2 little kids going up Shangri-La. I don't want a lot of traffic going up and down our road and down into whatever they're planning on putting in down there, because they're out there playing, and that's a residential road on Shangri-La. And I've watched the meetings. I've watched pretty much city council. They do what they want to do. And a lot of times they don't even listen to you guys. They're bound and determined to let Bob do the zone change. But I would like to know what really is going in down there before they do anything, before you guys make decisions. But I'm just a concerned citizen. I know everybody on the Heights, same way. They want to keep things quiet. I mean, it's bad enough now on the weekends we hear all the music from the weddings down there, and it's loud. You hear it all the way up on the hill. And if you put in, I'm hearing rumors of an amphitheater, things like that. I didn't want to move next to Tuacahn. I moved to Tokerville for the small town quiet. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Chris Butterworth, 1643 South Rimview Drive. And ditto what everyone has said. We came here for a quiet place as well. We've been in busy areas before. And, you know, we came here to retire and be quiet. And just to see it destroyed with everything that's going to be going in down there is just, it's just forcing out the regular residents that have been here, that, you know, paying our taxes and being loyal citizens to the city for quite some time. And so we would like to keep it that way. And like I said, I think all the neighbors are saying the same thing. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just bring this. Hi, I'm Charlotte Potter and I live down in Shangri-La. And I attended the meeting where the developer came and told us all the grandiose plans. And I live at the south end of the Litchfield property. And my easement comes right through their property, as does my irrigation water for my fields. And I was concerned about 3 things. First, I need access to my head gate for my irrigation. And second, I have an easement through that property. And the third was, how are you going to keep your people out of my property because they're going to want to go straight through mine and into Confluence Park? And his response was, oh, well, we're going to put an 8-foot gate or 8-foot fence around everything. And then I thought of the hares who are right in the middle of that. And so are they going to put an 8-foot fence around their property? 8-foot fence is a big deal. And he said, well, we're just going to have to change the easement and we're going to move the road and we'll just pipe all your water. And it was kind of second thought, like, oh, we'll just handle it. But that directly impacts us. And we paid a lot of money to get our water and our easement taken care of. And so to redo it, I don't know, just doesn't seem like anything they were super worried about. It was kind of an afterthought. That's all. Just super concerned about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you guys all know me. You know, this impacts us directly. We're right in the center of it. And on to what Charlotte was saying, they wanted to put a fence up and gate it off with no easement for us. and pretty funny thing. Then I had a councilman come up and ask me, if I'd been approached with an offer, and I haven't. And I says, why would I? Do you know something I don't? Anyhow, it isn't for sale. And I have vested interest in 5 of those parcels on there anyway, both prescriptive easements and several properties to the south that was given to me by Bob and Patty Litchfield, and to the north. And Bob Litchfield, if he wants to pursue this, I would think that you people would make him address this himself in person and have enough integrity and enough cojones to stand up and do that.
Let's keep it the
Anyway,
personal.
the deal is he has to have somebody like Jake who has a vested interest to make one thing, money for himself. And whoever are the investors in this entire project, let alone the Toquerville city government, isn't even lawful. Not yet. 3 times I've requested an actual affidavit, wet ink signature, notarized affidavits of oath of office. You don't have them. You also belong to the corporate structure of Utah Leagues and Cities and Towns, which is the National Leagues of Cities and Towns, which goes back to BlackRock Corporation, Vanguard Corporation, State Street Corporation, and Lucis, which is anyhow.
Mark, I appreciate your comments. If you would stay on the topic.
Well,
that
it
would be
is.
where
It
we
is on
would
the
be.
topic. It's about what you can address and go forward
Okay.
from here.
Well, we're gonna talk about this
But-
topic tonight, and we'll go one way or
Anyway.
the other. But we need to
Anyway,
stay
the
on that
planning
topic.
of this whole thing, and we know the growth is going to happen, and what's going on with the war of our country and the upside downness of it, and who knows who's going to live out there in this new growth, and illegal aliens or whatever, people that have no vested interest in our country or to the creator or to our foundation of America. So anyway, I am vehemently opposed to this on many, many things. It seems that, it's called Shangri-La. You guys have already adulterated it and with no concern, and want to turn, according to last planning and zoning, put all underground electrical in Old Town Toquerville and improve it. Right now, I have a trickle of water coming out, going on 6 years now of an issue. And this all seems to go back that there is a bias and a prejudice and towards Karen and Mark, that we can't even get the services that everybody else is granted. Then we have a pile of wood there. There's a big
Mark,
fire
I've
hazard.
heard what you said before, and I understand.
And I've asked
the
you guys to
position.
all come and talk to me. And none of you have
What I need you to
done it
do,
except this
Mark,
man right here.
I need you to sit down now, okay? We've taken everything you've listened to.
Okay.
We'll use
Thank
that.
you very
Thank you
much.
for your time.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Cami Bonnie. I live at 1110 Choya, and I'm just a concerned citizen. I came a couple months ago and we talked about this, and I know one of the comments was made about just the rights of the landholder and being able to use his property, sell it. But I'm just curious if it's at R120, right? So I'm thinking, it could be there could be some beautiful neighborhoods, another Choya Creek, another Trail Ridge. I mean, we have some great neighborhoods around here that if it's going to be housing, it could be really nice. Like, I feel like he would be able to still sell his property and make the money that he wants at what it's zoned right now, that there could be some nice neighborhoods that would add to our community of adding in families that would come in and be able to contribute to Toquerville. And that's where I look at it. I don't want to see that area changed. I went to the meeting also where the developer came and talked about, and I think he said they were planning 600 to 700 RV spaces that they would have down there. And that just seems crazy to me to think that we want that. I mean, I've driven by a few of the others that are going in, this one in Laverkin, and I don't know, I don't even think it has 100, and it looks huge to me. So to even imagine that 600 to 700 RV spots will go in down there, along with everything else they have planned, it just seems like it's not really the best area for that. It's a beautiful spot. Again, its name, Shangri-La. We all have talked about that and how beautiful it is. I'd rather see if it was going to be built up where it is zoned at now for homes that could come in there and just have some beautiful neighborhoods that could be down there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Hello, Michael Franzese. I live on 1540 South Ash Creek Drive. I'm the piece of property that looks right down on the new bridge that's going to go in. And my wife and I moved here back in '94. And we picked this location because of the nice small town environment that it is. A couple of weeks ago when we had this other meeting, I was really surprised. I believe it might have been you that said that the survey that was sent out a couple of years ago for everybody to fill out on how they wanted this town to progress and what they wanted commercial property. And I believe you said there was like 3% that wanted it, but there was like 97% that did not want this growth. Okay,
Yeah,
these are the surveys that were sent out, and it was brought up. It might not have been you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but that was revealed, which was very enlightening. So you have about 90% of the residents that actually submitted that form stating they don't want this. It also doesn't meet any of the 9 requirements. And that's why it's been tabled and shelved and looked into for the last 4 times. But now we're going out of our way to get with the city of St. George to see whether or not we can get that changed to meet Litchfield's request for making a ton of money on his property and turning it into commercial highway. Now, from my understanding, Tokerville has more real estate land than Hurricane. I don't know if that's true or not. I was going to check into it. But if that's true, put this park somewhere else, off of I-15 somewhere. You've already got an RV park going in at Anderson Junction. You've got 3 or 4 RV parks in Hurricane. So it's like, we don't need this massive 800 pad RV park in the best part of Tokerville. Okay, it's a beautiful section down there. I went to the 2 meetings where the developer said what they wanted to do with this thing. And for people who haven't been to that meeting, I suggest you go on Tokerville Sentinel and read the article called Lipstick on a Pig, because there you can accommodate at least 1,200 resident people, visitors, tourists coming into this town, which is more than what we have in the whole population of Tokerville. And all those people on the heights, down below, and anywhere property near that, their property values are just going to plummet. Okay? And that's the truth. They also said they were going to spend $1 million to put trees up. So to me, they're going to knock down a lot of those trees to put this big, huge RV park. And let's be clear, it's not an RV park. It's Disneyland. You're going to have a water slide. You're going to have an 800 seat amphitheater. You're going to have a 5-star restaurant. You're going to have a massive megaplex movie theater. You're going to have an indoor golf go-kart. You're going to have a park down there, and none of this is open to the residents unless
Okay,
they pay to get
let's,
into it.
That's your time. You have 3 minutes to
Okay.
speak. So thank you for your comments.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Diana Thayer, I live on Shangri-La Drive. I wasn't going to talk, and I'm usually not very succinct, or I'm not a good speaker. The noise from that would affect everybody on the heights. I live farther away, but still noise rises. The other thing is that it doesn't seem to be in the way the town was built as a bedroom community. This is a destination point. This is a resort. It's not, as Mike said, there'll be no use. And when we went to, no use for the townspeople because you're not allowed to go in. And the man who was presenting that, and he comes from back east, he says, "Lady, don't even bother to get upset. It's going to go through. Just sit down and let progress come." Well, that's, kind of the wrong attitude for people who kind of feel like they might have control over their life in their area. if it were going to benefit, he talked about, we're going to put taxes back in and it's going to help the taxes. Well, we know that any taxes that go to the city don't necessarily trickle down to the people. So that really wasn't an argument that they're going to take the water and they're going to put it back into the system. Well, who knows if that water is going to be there? I mean, there may be some extra water now, but we're all fighting water. So having that many people added to the infrastructure of our town when we're already using water that may or may not be there for just to benefit a corporation that really doesn't care. These people who are doing nightly things, they're required to live in the area. This is a corporation that comes from back east. This is nobody that cares about us or about this area, only their development. It's going to look large, it look lovely, but it's a private destination and not there to enhance the town in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. Afton, do you want to read these? Oh,
I think he might want to go again.
okay.
Did you already? Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke on the last topic, so he's good. Go ahead.
Not on this.
No, I know you
Right, you're
did.
good.
Go ahead. I was just trying to clarify that, but I know where you spoke, so you're good.
Manning Butter 1643 South Renview Drive. A question and a concern I have, and I did attend one of the two public presentations by the developer. And I asked the question of the developer at the time, and I think it was raised by others as well. And that's in regard to compliance with ordinances. The city has ordinances, of course. We know that. And we were assured that the developer would comply with the ordinances. Well, that's fine. But my question was not about that. It's about those who are guests of this development. What assurance does the city have? What assurance do the citizens have that the guests will comply with the ordinances? Because these are not residents of the city of Tocqueville. These are transient guests. They may be there for a night, they may be there for several nights, but they are simply transient guests. And I did not receive any assurance that there is a mechanism or that there was even a concern for how the city and the citizens could be assured that these guests would comply with the ordinances of all kinds. And I still don't have an answer to that question. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Polly Kegler, and my husband and I have owned the home at 1658 Rimview Drive for 12 years now. My brother lived there year-round, and we have been there part-time, coming from Minnesota. And we chose, of all the places we looked for, Tocqueville, because of all the factors these citizens have so ably presented tonight. The beautiful area, it's gorgeous here, the small town atmosphere, the wonderful welcoming people that we found here. And this sounds to me, as people have so ably presented tonight, that it's for the benefit of a few. And the question I ask all of you on the city council and the planning commission to think about all of us, how is it going to help all of the citizens of Tocqueville and not just the few, the developer, the agents and others that we know are there just for their own profit. And I thank you for listening and thank you for providing this wonderful haven that we've found for 12 years and home to my brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's about everybody. You might be like, Afton has some letters that were sent in that she's going to read.
And we just want to start by saying, we were going to announce this at the beginning, but just Attorney Snow typically attends Planning Commission, but he, this is obviously a special city council meeting, not on our normal regular night. And anyway, so he's attending Enterprise. He already has commitments for that. So that's why he's not here, just for those who are wondering. The first letter that I have, Daisy, if you want to just start the timer. The first letter that I have is from Kathy Bentz at 370 West Shangri-La. She said, this hearing is about a zone change, yet no written plan has been submitted detailing what will be done on this property. The owner is in effect saying, give me the zoning to increase my property value, then I'll surprise you with what I do with it. That surprise includes a promise of huge revenue for the city. However, if they did what they verbally suggested, it would be to turn the Shangri-La Valley into a massive tourist destination, a destination for tourists, not residents. Does anyone believe that's what Tokerville residents want? Of course not. But what will really happen if they build what they verbally suggested? The crime, traffic, lights to kill our dark skies, the wear and tear, and our taxes to pay for it will all go up. The water table will go down. At a time when the city is trying to limit the congestion and parked cars on the streets, this would bring in more people than currently exist in Tokerville, and all their cars would need to be parked. The first zone change to highway commercial for the adjacent property was likely illegal. Thank you, Planning Commission, for opposing that zone change. Too bad the City Council didn't. At this point, please don't compound the city's mistake by giving an even more generous planned commercial zoning to increase the value of this property also. Residents don't want the surprise of what could happen to our city if the zone change is granted. And then that's the end of Kathy's. That was submitted online, Daisy. And then the second one submitted online. This is from Ray Bentz, who also lives at 370 West Shangri-La. Neil McDonald wrote a post in the Tokerville Sentinel that shares a genuine concern. He wrote, a couple of years ago, a developer proposed a Disney-themed commercial development in Hurricane. The project promised to create large amounts of tax revenue for the city of Hurricane. So the city approved the landowner's request of rezoning the land so the development could move forward. But soon after the zoning change was implemented, the developer announced that the project was not going to happen. The Hurricane City Council had to admit that they had been duped. The entire proposed project was just a ruse to get the land rezoned to commercial simply to increase its value. I think that is what Shangri-La, this Shangri-La proposal is the same trick. This trick has gone wrong elsewhere. No detailed plan has even been submitted. Whether it is or not, we really don't know what will happen on this property. Please don't be duped like Hurricane City Council was. The third letter submitted online. This is from Kelly Fortier, 330 West Shangri-La. It says, hi, Daisy, obviously addressed to the recorder, but it says, I'm writing the following letter to be read aloud at tomorrow's meeting, which I am unable to attend. Dear Planning Commission, as I mentioned in my previous letter, my husband and I chose to uproot ourselves and move to Tokerville for a slower pace of life, focused on raising our children and providing them a safe and welcoming place to live. The rezoning of this land to planned commercial, centered below neighborhoods of families, is simply money-driven and does not consider our community at all. That land along the creek, which others who live downstream have water rights to, should not be demolished and replaced with an RV park, water park, and whatever else outlandish items presented to citizens of Tokerville last month. In my opinion, this application was dead on arrival and should be denied. Not only does this application not meet any of the 9 rezoning requirements, the applicant did not feel the need to fulfill the written text site plan requirements outlined in City Code 1012C-4. Additionally, the applicant claims there will be no impact on natural resources such as water, but RV parks consume tens of thousands of gallons per day. Plus, a water park I find it hard to believe any sort of feasibility. It says, I find it hard to believe any sort of feasibility study has been completed, which shows the lack of care or perhaps seriousness of the applicant. If a lush, beautiful location like Shangri-La is rezoned and this moves forward, we will heavily consider leaving Tokerville before our property value is diminished from the proximity of this development and the noise pollution that this will bring. If this is rezoned to planned commercial, that will dramatically change how we feel this town is managed and very much disalign with our values. Tokerville is a special place that should have its natural beauty preserved, not be overrun by commercial development and tourism, the complete opposite of what Tokerville citizens want. Please consider who you are representing in your decision. Planned commercial should not be in our backyards. Thank you. The next is submitted handwritten, was delivered to the city. This is by Wendy Degara. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Daisy, for the record, it's Deguara. and Peter Lynch. They live at 1659 South Rimview Drive. It says, to whom it may concern, I just want to make sure I've got all, yeah. To whom it may concern, I would like to object to the commercial zoning of Shangri-La. We live on Rimview Drive off Shangri-La. We moved from Vegas for the small and quiet neighborhood, not near RV parks and busy places. We will be affected with traffic, lights, and noise. I am unable to attend this meeting as I am a caregiver for my husband. Please accept my objection. Thank you. Signed, Wendy and Peter. Next letter, also handwritten, delivered directly to the city. This letter, for the record, is from Brenda Butterfield, who lives at 1685 Rimview Drive, regarding the city council zoning. We moved here almost 11 years ago. And I do just want to say this, in this letter, it does not mention this specific zone change, but when it was dropped off, when it was delivered to the city, it was for this, but it doesn't mention it specifically in the text. It says, regarding city council zoning, we moved here almost 11 years ago for the peace and quiet it afforded, but now it seems we are always fighting to keep it that way. I am definitely against the change. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Let me continue. I am definitely against the change of zoning on the property below Shangri-La Litchfield. So it doesn't mention it in that one thing. So that's signed Brenda. So those are the 5 that were submitted to be read.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any other people who'd like to get up and address us? Nobody? Oh. No, we're good. Okay, so I'll take a motion to close the public hearing if we have nobody else.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Take a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, have any of you got questions or thoughts?
So we listen to Jake, or we?
Well, if we have any questions, we can address him, but we don't necessarily need to.
Okay. You know, I've stated many times that I am a huge advocate for personal property rights, and I am. But I look at, the only thing I can go by is this map that is in our packet. 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when this came before us, and I made a motion at the suggestion of legal counsel that the applicant put together a plan of what they are going to be doing with the property. And then they were going to bring that plan to Planning Commission and let us look at it. And I haven't seen anything. I know they had open houses, but the applicant has not come in front of the Planning Commission and said, this is what we're doing. I see a map, and the map just shows me it's a, excuse me, an overuse of the property. That's kind of where I'm looking at this. And I don't think it fits 9 criteria.
We'll briefly address these. I'll read through those, but Jenny, have you got anything?
When we go through the 9, I'll
Okay,
weigh in.
all right, Wayne? Or any questions for the applicant or anything like that?
No, I have no questions for the applicant.
Okay. You have nothing? No.
Well, I have lots.
Go ahead, let's hear it. And I will go through the 9 requirements.
I went down there and spent extensive time hiking around. So I'd get kicked off a couple times. Looking at this map, how it fits, how it cannot fit, what it violates in this town as far as sensitive lands, overuse of lands entirely, hillside ordinances. You know, you got things going up on the whole ridges. It's a total disruption of that whole valley along with destruction in my mind. And my second thought is there's no way that the property owner would want to subject the people that live down there to be surrounded by this. This is just not not fits, doesn't fit anything. I mean, I think it's just a overuse. And I hear these people. I don't know if I believe some of I hear it. You never know, but I'm putting myself in the city's shoes. I'm putting myself in Mr. Litchfield's shoes, and I'm putting myself in their shoes. And no way would I ever want to live next to this. Our general plan forbids it. Everything, you go through the 9 criteria, nothing will fit this. But I'm just deadly opposed to it. I think this is the disaster for the town. If this is what's presented.
Okay. Is there a need to go through the 9 criteria, or do you want me to read through them? We can do that if we want.
I think you should go through it.
Okay, addresses a recognized and demonstrated need in the community.
So that was a primary concern for me because I've lived here for 35 years and we had too many RV parks in Laverton. And after a while, the city had to go through a whole rejuvenation process and deal with those. And I feel like we've gone through a cycle, and now we're in part of the cycle where we have a lot again because Washington just got a new one. Hurricane just got 2 new RV parks. And Tokerville additionally is getting a new RV park. So to me, we're reaching a point where we don't have, and I think there was a need for it because they all disappeared for a while, but I don't think that it's currently a demonstrated need because of the saturation of RV parks that I'm seeing in the region.
Okay. Concur with that. Will be compatible with the character of the neighborhood, surrounding structures, use, scale, mass, and circulation.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even
right?
it'd be offensive.
Yeah. Okay. Will not result in an over-intensive use of the land or excessive depletion of natural resources.
Fells
Seemed intensive.
It's
every which way
very
you look at it.
over-intensive. I agree.
If you went
And I
down
also
there-
believe what Wayne had said is a sensitive land overlay talks about waterways, flood zones, hillsides. That's largely what makes up most of this property, or a lot of that property as well.
Yeah, well, most of these lots are on that hillside.
Yeah. Okay. Will not have, let's see, where was I? I'm sorry.
4,
Am I on 4?
I think so.
Will not have a material adverse effect on community capital improvement programs. I don't think that it would actually, but yeah, I think it would generate its own taxing, and I don't think that's necessarily an issue.
Mhm.
Will not require a level of community facility services greater than that which is available. We have, I mean, yeah, you bring 700 spaces, people can stay, they have 3 or 4 people, you're 2,100, I don't, just as a number. It's a lot of people to bring in an area that doesn't have any amenity. We do have fire, we do have that, but it's, based on the services we are based on are the homes that we have, not this extra number of people that we have. So
I got an example for that. I talked to quite a few residents and some unknown people I can't say, but the town of Virgin had a council in there a different council. Everybody has different thoughts and different ideas how to grow. Well, they grew with teepees and tiny homes and cowboy huts and things like that. And it's constantly having to have the county sheriff come over to facilitate the problems with that. So this will overuse because we don't have no control of what happens down there. Somebody goes wandering into the residence place, it'll tax that number, that article right there. It'll be overwhelming, I think, but
okay.
They're not
I'm
residents.
also concerned about that, about overtaxing
will not.
the services.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, just overtaxing the services that we have. That's a concern for me too.
Will not result in undue traffic congestion and traffic hazards. To me, it's a no-brainer. That's a mess. Yeah.
Do you think we need to just ask for the audience that it was quiet during public comment? So instead of laughing or things like that,
Yeah, I agree. And
Free
I
it
should
to
have
hold
paid
that
attention, but
down.
Please
Respect.
be respectful. Okay, will not cause significant air, odor, water, light, or noise pollution.
Well, That's a no-brainer too.
Yeah, I don't, I know that there is noise pollution down there now. It's kind of a thing, but this is not something we ought to be just like, oh yeah, it's okay to do that now. So I think it's, I believe that it would. Any other comments on that one?
No.
Okay. Will not otherwise be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the present or future inhabitants of the city.
It's certainly going to affect the welfare of the neighbors and in a very broad circle of the neighbors. Yeah, this is just, it just seems to me this is the wrong project, the wrong parcel.
I also do think it's going to affect the water use and the availability of water and all those kinds of things, which will also have a future impact on the neighborhoods as well. Will meet the requirements of the general plan.
No way.
No.
And the old general plan certainly talks about maintaining small town feels, all of those things. The new general plan and the surveys that we had overwhelmingly showed that people do not support destination, tourist destination and that type of thing. And that's exactly what this is. So I really, as I look at the 9 criteria, there's one that I can say, maybe not a problem, but the rest of them I definitely see a problem with. So therefore, I am ready for a motion if you guys are.
I'll make a motion that we deny business item C2. Is that good enough? Do you want me to go through the whole thing?
What needs to happen though is you need to, instead of saying that we need to
Recommend.
deny it, we need to recommend.
I
for it.
recommend denial.
Yeah, so recommend denial
I
instead
recommend
of we're
denial
going to
on
deny.
business item C2.
Is it 2A?
It's
Oh,
C2.
C2, yep, sorry.
Yeah,
I was
you're good.
Looking down too low.
Okay, I've got a motion. I have a second.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any need to discuss this further?
No, this project just fails on every level that there is. Parcels aren't big enough. Homes are on parcel. If every way you could possibly think about it, it fails.
Okay, and with that, I will take a vote.
Aye or no. Wait, what?
No, you're the.
Recommend denial, correct?
recommended that.
Right.
Yep.
Aye.
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 Okay.
And then Chairman, if you will,
Yes, ma'am.
maybe just clarify that what happened tonight, just for the public, we know that, just so that they know that this is going to move on to city council, but that tonight is only a recommendation. So at the next regularly scheduled city council meeting, this will be heard by city council. There won't be a public hearing, but you are more than welcome to come and attend that meeting on October 4th. Yeah, sorry. Next at 6 p.m. Same room.
Acting on the zone change, you have to bring it for the city council.
That's what we were saying. This is a recommendation.
It's not going to have a public, it'll have a.
It doesn't require one at the city council level, only at the planning commission level. That's why we want to make sure and clarify that. We don't want them thinking that they're going to, that in our ordinance, there's only a public hearing for planning commission for a zone change at the planning commission level.
That's
Totally wrong. Read your plan applicability cause.
for general plan.
The general
Plan.
plan, anything to do with zone changes or land, you have to have it through the city council and the planning.
That's if we're changing the general plan. So that's one thing we're working on in this ordinance is to address the public hearing. But yeah, it's only at planning commission level. So I just don't want them to come and be disappointed thinking that they're going to have the opportunity to say the same letters or the same things at city council. These will be passed on and the comments will be passed on. But that is one thing that we do want to just we just want to reassure everybody that they were heard tonight, that this absolutely their comments will absolutely be passed on to city council, but you are more than welcome to come back to that meeting on October 4th at 6 p.m.
I disagree.
Okay.
I'll stay quiet.
All right.
Close the meeting?
Yep. I adjourned this meeting at, time is 6:57.
Yeah, it's only in here on the zone change. Yeah. Yeah. Hearing, no.